Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here. In this video, I make this shipping crate you see here behind me. It is going halfway across the country, and inside are 5 dining tables. They're not huge, but they're heavy. And this was a challenge. Never done it before. So if you want to see how I did it and some of the mistakes along the way, let's go. All right, guys, thanks for joining me again. This project starts with an existing pallet that I happen to have on hand, and then I'm gonna screw down 2 sheets of OSB that I happen to laminate together off camera, giving me a pretty stable base. The dimensions of the base were taken from the tabletops. It's 2 inches larger than those tabletops in either direction. At this point, I'm gonna cut down some ram board to fit to give me a little bit softer feel. I don't want everything resting exactly on the OSB, so this is gonna give me a nice protective barrier. Ram board is essentially really thick construction paper, typically used in the construction industry to protect surfaces, kind of like I'm doing here. With the help of a staple gun, I'm gonna suture this joint together and then staple everything down, giving me a nice soft base to then lay down 1 moving blanket. And now, check out the tables. I know it seems a little backwards where I'm releasing a crate for these tables as a video before the table video. Now, I'll explain that later on. However, I'm really lucky enough to have my dad here today. He was gracious enough to come by the shop to help me layer these tables up. Be it the fact that they're very heavy, I didn't want to risk this by myself. And of course, I'm gonna brand these as well. Got a couple branding irons here. And now we flip it over. And the idea is to put the aprons down first, another blanket, and then another tabletop. Because there's 5 tables, if I repeat this process over and over, it'll give me a flat surface on the very top once we get them all stacked up. So the process goes like this. We layer by layer, table by moving blanket, keeping everything nice and square, nice and aligned. And the client actually asked me to brand and sign these as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and oblige and do that too. After all, these are pretty nice tables and I am pretty proud of them. With the 5th table on top, we're gonna coat all the surfaces, even all the way down, with moving blankets. I'm gonna roughly secure these with a little bit of shrink wrap. And here's a little grocery store trick. When you have to wrap a pallet up, throw the stretch wrap on a broom and then run around. It's essentially a trick we use in the grocery industry, which I've been in for over 20 years. Same goes with the bubble wrap. And of course, it's a family affair, as you see. And check this out. Look at this little girl. And trying to work, and of course. What are you doing? Playing blocks. All right, now I'm gonna show you how I'm packing the legs up. With tapered legs, if you alternate them the opposite way, they kind of nestle in together. And I'm using a piece of bubble wrap on the diagonal. As you see, doing this gives me all 4 surfaces covered and the legs are protected from each other. At this point, I'm then gonna wrap everything up in bubble wrap. And then, yep, you guessed it, more shrink wrap as well. All the way down, all the way up. And I'm using a Lazy Susan for this process too. It really helps out. One more thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna protect the hardware with some more bubble wrap on the bottom, and then again, shrink wrap all this together. It may seem like overkill, but I don't wanna take any chances. So if you look carefully, you can see some numbers and some shapes on the legs, and that's to coordinate where the legs go on which table. I figured I'd give the person a roadmap, whoever's gonna be assembling these. I wish I could, but since it's half a country away, I'm not gonna be able to do so. Also, I do want to mention I laid down a sheet of 1/8" plywood to put the legs on, because I don't want that hardware, even though it's really wrapped up in bubble wrap, I don't want that hardware to even think about gouging through. So now, once that's done, it's time to turn our attention to the OSB and start building some walls. Now, I guess there's 2 methods of building these. You don't want to use both because then someone needs different tools to take this thing apart. One is the one I'm using here. I'm using just simple brad nails to assemble everything together, which isn't the strongest joint, but I'm going to end up reinforcing that with something I think is going to be a little bit more handy. The other way is to just screw everything in place, which, you need a drill gun and a screwdriver to take that apart. However, this, you're just going to need a hammer and a crowbar. Either way, you're going to need something to get into a shipping crate. So here's the product before I put the lid on, the last glimpse of me actually looking at these tables. And now it's time to install some 2x2s that I've cut on the table saw down near the bottom. I'm also going to use some of those 2x2s in the project as well. And those are pretty handy for how I'm going to really suture this thing together. Now it's time to make the top. This is about 1/3 of the top being screwed into a piece of plywood. I'm gonna flip that upside down. That strip of plywood is gonna nestle underneath the other 2/3 of the top. And then I'm gonna come back with screws and make that one cohesive unit. And then I just drive it home with some brad nails into the top. And again, brad nails aren't the strongest, especially going into the end grain of the OSB. But I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna suture this thing together. I think it's pretty handy. All right, little trick here, a little screw at the end of a piece of plywood, put that ratchet strap hook on it, bring it towards you, that way you can wrap it up. Now, these 2x2s, I'm cutting a small 90-degree groove out of them, and then I'm going to the crosscut sled to cut them to the right sizes that I need. This is all according to these specifications. There is no real rhyme or reason to what I'm doing, but I think it's gonna work pretty well. So these notched 2x2s are gonna go on the top and the sides. I'm just gonna brad nail them in place because I'm gonna use ratchet straps to bring this whole thing together. Now, the reason I'm using ratchet straps, well, one is I'm more comfortable with these than, say, loading up a bunch of screws in this thing. Plus, this is gonna be something that the client can actually use. There's 4 of these, they're in decent shape, and when you get done using them, he's got them for whatever he wants. So it's kind of like a little gift. Either way, I like this method, and the reason those 2x2s are on the sides, well, it's because the ratchet straps don't have any abrasive, OSB to run into. This gives them a nice smooth surface. And it looks like upon completion of the 4th one, 2 on the top and 2 around the sides, this thing is not going anywhere. I almost can't believe that it's at this stage. Yeah. So we got to get it to the front of the shop. We got to call FedEx and get this whole thing wrapped up. What do you think? When you finally complete something, it feels really good. You get a good sense of accomplishment until you realize you made a huge mistake. And the ratchet straps are just not installed correctly. Deaths, taxes, and mistakes in woodworking. That, I swear, should be what is the saying. But, see what happened there? The pallet jack won't fit underneath because of the straps. And you know what? I purchased these just in case something like this was gonna happen. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna surface mount these to the hardwood, to the oak pallet, and then hook the hooks through these, and that should work, hopefully. I use a pallet almost every day when I'm at work, and I should know better. I can't believe I made that mistake, but this looks like it's gonna prove a really nice alternative. And you know what? It worked really well. Although I didn't just ratchet these with all the strength in the world, this is pretty good. I was pretty pleased with how these are holding up, and that's gonna do just fine. Okay, I fixed the issue. Shouldn't be a problem now. Let's test it out. Oh, and by the way, feel free to let me know I shouldn't be operating a pallet jack in flip-flops. I'm actually kidding, I'm not leaving yet. I gotta rearrange the shop, and yeah. That's the beauty of everything being on wheels. Even though I have quite a bit of space in here, it is nice to be able to move things around. And quite frankly, if I didn't put them on wheels, I wouldn't have been able to do this project. Man, I had this whole place tarped up and doing spray finishing and all kinds of stuff. So wheels on tools, no matter what size your shop is definitely the way to go. So, but now I can bring this to the front of the shop and wait on FedEx. All right. I changed my mind on where I wanted to keep it for now. That's cute, honey. And look at this. Look what the wife did. Oh yeah, it's time to tag this thing. Let's do it. I mean, this is so cool. A huge thank you to my wife. She does sometimes add the really coolest touches to my projects, and you think it's maybe some kind of Italian? Not really sure. Anyway, thank you, honey. This really does set this thing apart. Even though it is a shipping crate, we love it. Such a fitting way to end this project. Now it's just time to wait on FedEx and give you my final thoughts about this. I'm not gonna lie, this was actually one of the more satisfying projects that I've probably ever done. I know it doesn't seem like it, but maybe it's because it's housing something that I was very prideful of. And of course, those tables turn out beautiful. And if you're waiting on that video, it's coming. But it's a massive edit. I'll give you an example. Most videos have anywhere between 60 to 120 clips that I then narrate down, or I then shrink down to give you a basic video. The dining tables are around 400 clips. Now you're probably thinking that's crazy. Well, there's a lot of steps involved. So it's gonna be a big edit and it's coming. But this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, thanks for joining me. My name is Chris. Like I've always said, if you guys wanna support the channel, I've got merch and Patreon links down below, along with affiliate links as well. So check it out, no pressure as always. My name is Chris again. I'll see you guys on the next video. And until then, thank you so much for joining me. Y'all take care.